Imagine capturing the absolute attention of the entire global music industry at just 7 years old, making the most ruthless critics in Hollywood break down in tears, earning a golden buzzer desired by millions, and then suddenly vanishing from the very digital platforms that built your stardom. When a viral child prodigy with a once-in-a-generation talent deliberately chooses to walk away from multi-million-dollar television contracts and leaves powerful network executives completely furious, you know something has gone terribly wrong behind closed doors. The journey from a quiet, snowy life in Oslo, Norway, to the blinding, flashing lights of Los Angeles is rarely a smooth transition. But what unfolded behind the heavily guarded studio doors of the American entertainment machine defies everything we have come to expect from modern pop stars. While many casual onlookers assumed her career simply stalled out or faded into obscurity, the reality of her disappearance is far more shocking, involving intense corporate standoffs, massive legal battles, and a fierce teenage girl who flat-out refused to be turned into an assembly line money generator. This extraordinary saga began on a cold, dimly lit stage in Norway, where a tiny soft-spoken girl stepped out in front of a highly skeptical audience completely barefoot. The moment she opened her mouth, the entire auditorium fell into an eerie, breathless silence. The voice echoing through the speakers was not that of a child. It was a heavy, dark, and deeply jazzed vocal that sounded as though she had lived 100 past lives and carried all the burdens of the world within her chest. Her immediate victory on Norway's Got Talent transformed her into an overnight national treasure, but it was her continuous choice to perform without shoes that sparked an intense, years-long debate among media commentators. Many cynical music critics initially accused her team of using it as a cheap marketing gimmick, a calculated stunt designed by clever television producers to manipulate the emotions of the voting public. However, the dark truth behind those bare feet was far more heartbreaking. At just 6 years old, she had met a shoeless, impoverished young orphan girl on the streets of a developing nation. That brief encounter deeply hurt her, leading her to make a solemn vow that she would never wear shoes on a stage again as long as there were children in the world forced to suffer without them. It was this raw, unyielding authenticity that she carried across the Atlantic Ocean, completely unaware that Hollywood operates on an entirely different set of predatory, manipulative rules. Her true global breakthrough appeared to be written in the stars when she was invited to compete on the world stage of America's Got Talent, the Champions. Standing before the most talented performers from every corner of the planet, she delivered an arrangement of Queen's most iconic anthem that was so hauntingly beautiful it forced the legendary executive to bestow his highest possible praise. The video of that single performance exploded across the internet, racking up tens of millions of views in just a matter of days. Insiders predicted she would rapidly become the biggest musical commodity on the planet. Yet right at the absolute peak of this digital hysteria, a bizarre and unexplained anomaly occurred. Without warning or a word of explanation, the video of her most viral performance was completely scrubbed and deleted from the official YouTube channels. Internet sleuths and her fiercely loyal immediately began smelling a corporate cover-up. Conspiracy theories spread like wildfire across digital forums, with heavy accusations claiming that this sudden mass erasure was a calculated punishment by television executives because the young artist and her protective family flatly refused to sign a highly restrictive, multi-year 360-degree talent contract. Her refusal to hand over the rights to her own voice at such a young age placed her on an unspoken industry blacklist before her career could even get off the ground, setting the stage for an even larger, more explosive conflict. Despite the heavy tension brewing behind the scenes of mainstream television, her raw, natural talent could not be contained by corporate walls for long. Shortly after the high-stakes talent show drama, she signed what appeared to be a monumental record deal with one of the biggest powerhouses in the United States, Republic Records, officially packing up her life and moving to Los Angeles. On paper, this transition looked like the ultimate dream come true for any aspiring musician. She was granted immediate access to elite recording studios, multi-Grammy-winning producers, and an seemingly endless marketing budget. However, beneath the glamorous, sun-drenched surface of Los Angeles, a harsh and bitter reality began to creep in. The mainstream American music industry is rarely interested in spiritual authenticity. It is interested in repeatable formulas that generate rapid, predictable profit. Label executives began applying immense pressure on the teenager to drastically alter her entire identity. They desperately wanted to strip away her timeless, old-school jazz sound and mold her into a hyper-polished, electronic pop act that would easily fit into modern radio playlists and viral short-form video apps. A silent, brutal tug-of-war emerged between the soul of a true artist and the insatiable greed of a corporate machine. When a young girl is forced to choose between maintaining her artistic integrity or becoming a manufactured pop puppet, a massive explosion is only a matter of time. That inevitable explosion finally rocked the international music community last year, triggering one of the most public and embarrassing scandals in modern European broadcasting history. She had been officially locked in and heavily promoted as the absolute headline act for Norway's massive selection event, a premier national broadcast watched by millions of fanatical viewers. But just days before the live cameras were set to roll, with a massive, expensive stage already fully constructed and the broadcasting schedules rigidly locked, she abruptly and completely canceled her appearance. This sudden, unilateral decision left network executives absolutely and completely humiliated on a public stage. Furious over the sudden abandonment and the massive logistical nightmare it created, the National Broadcasting Network struck back with immense legal force, filing a massive public lawsuit demanding over 130,000 NOK in immediate financial damages for operational losses. The European media was instantly flooded with wild speculation regarding what dark secrets had caused such a catastrophic last-minute breakdown. Instead of issuing a standard, submissive corporate apology to calm the waters, the response launched from the young singer's camp only made the furious TV executives push harder. A high-profile, incredibly expensive Hollywood litigator hired by her team fired back with a cold, ruthless public statement, claiming that the young singer had never actually signed a single piece of legally binding paperwork connecting her to the event. Meanwhile, her immediate family circles began circulating a completely different narrative to local reporters, claiming that dangerous, fast-moving wildfires raging near their Los Angeles residence had created a highly perilous situation that prevented them from ever making it to the airport safely. The glaring contradictions between the aggressive statements of her Hollywood legal team and the dramatic environmental excuses of her family instantly aroused heavy suspicion among European fans. Many industry insiders firmly believed that the wildfire story was merely a diplomatic smokescreen designed to mask a much darker, unresolved battle over the total creative control of her European performances. This chaotic incident made one thing undeniably clear to the world. She was no longer a compliant child who could be pushed around by television networks or corporate legal threats. Having effectively burned her bridges with traditional media networks, she took an incredibly risky extreme artistic pivot that virtually no other mainstream artist of her generation would ever dare to attempt. Rather than following the tightly controlled single-by-single release strategies mandated by major labels to maximize streaming algorithmic profits, she quietly dropped 3 full-length studio albums completely back-to-back with almost zero corporate promotion. What left major label executives utterly paralyzed with shock was not just the blistering speed of the releases, but the actual thematic content of the music itself. She flatly rejected the teams of elite, platinum-selling Hollywood hitmakers that had been meticulously assembled for her. Instead, she chose to write every single lyric on those albums completely by herself, using nothing but the raw, unpolished, and deeply personal poetry found in her grandmother's private journals. This was nothing short of an open act of war against the established Hollywood pipeline. By intentionally disconnecting herself from the mainstream distribution machine and prioritizing intimate, highly organic live performances, she sent an undeniable, thunderous message to the highest towers of the industry. Her creative soul was absolutely not for sale at any price. Deliberately refusing to play by the established rules of the global music cartel is an incredibly dangerous path that has completely destroyed the careers of countless legendary artists before her. Without the massive, multi-million-dollar marketing apparatus of a major corporate label backing her every move, an independent artist faces an uphill battle against algorithms designed to bury non-compliant musicians. Her decision to aggressively prioritize absolute artistic freedom over the guaranteed safety of instant, mainstream commercial pop fame represents one of the single greatest career gambles ever witnessed in the modern digital era. Whether this fiercely defiant move will ultimately solidify her legacy as an independent, timeless icon who successfully outsmarted the system, or completely lock her out of the elite circles of the global music industry forever, remains an intense mystery. However, she has already proven to her millions of followers that she would much rather stand completely barefoot on a stage she built with her own hands than wear golden shoes on a stage owned and controlled by someone else. This unfolding saga leaves a massive, haunting question for anyone who consumes media in our modern world. In a digital landscape currently dominated by cold algorithms, manufactured viral trends, and heavily synthesized public images, is there truly any room left for a pure artist who only desires to sing the unvarnished truth? When we witness her viral videos being wiped from the internet and massive lawsuits being thrown at her family, we're violently reminded that the entertainment industry frequently values total compliance far more than it values raw, unfiltered genius. Her immense bravery to stand completely unmoved against the crushing weight of corporate pressure serves as a powerful reminder that true art can never be imprisoned by a contract or measured by social media statistics. Ultimately, only time will tell if Hollywood truly lost her, or if she successfully managed to rescue her soul from the gluttonous jaws of Hollywood. For her devoted global following, her noticeable absence from the commercial red carpets isn't a sign of failure at all. It is an absolute, priceless victory of self-respect over a broken industry.